Hello peeps, and welcome to the first in my series of Adobe After Effects CS6 tutorials. Now I thought I'd open this bunch of tutorials with a very simple short explanation of the workspace, or the area you'll be working in when you're learning and using Adobe After Effects. Now this is After Effects CS6. This is the layout you're presented with when you first boot up the software. It looks very confusing to the first time viewer. I remember when I first started trying to learn, I mean it can really put some people off. You load it up, you're presented with loads of windows, buttons, bells and whistles. You don't really know what any of it does. And there's an initial very steep learning curve that some people don't make it through, and it puts them off learning After Effects, and they end up missing out on a hell of a lot because they don't get over this initial part. Now it's really worth just spending, half an hour. I mean, this tutorial will be 5 minutes, but over the next few tutorials, which are going to add up to half an hour or so, it's really worth you just sitting down. You don't have to do anything. You can just watch me go through it. Grab a beer, grab a glass of wine, or if you're under 18, grab some orange juice or a glass of milk, and just watch me go through some of the basics. Yes, it's boring, but it's worth just spending half an hour going through this. It will save you a lot of time in the long run when we come to doing the more exciting stuff, which we will get to, I promise. So with that in mind, let's crack on. Now up in the top left, we'll start up here I suppose. You've got the Adobe After Effects. This is the window, so you've got untitled project at the moment. There's nothing open. The next tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to open projects, how to open compositions within projects, and so on. But for the moment we've got a blank canvas. Now just below that you've got the menu bar. You've got the file menu, which is very similar to Photoshop and many other types of software. This is where you open, close, save, import your projects, and so on and so on. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got project settings down the bottom. I'm not going to go through every single option of every single part of this toolbar, of this menu bar, sorry. We'll learn as we go. Next one along, we've got Edit. Again, very similar to Photoshop and other applications. We've got Cut, Copy, Paste, Undo, Redo, Duplicate. Lots of stuff you'll be familiar with from other programs if you've used them. If you're not familiar with that, don't worry. We'll learn as we go, and you will be becoming familiar with it. An interesting one just down here is Purge. You can purge your memory, which later on, when you have lots of different types of media open, you're rendering scenes, purging your memory is a very quick and easy thing to just know about. A lot of people overlook it. You can purge your memory, it very quickly it clears your cache, and can speed things up for you. Now, the next one along is composition. Compositions are what you will be spending most of your time working with, actually. You'll open a project, and within that project you have various compositions using the assets within your project. Now, assets are basically the different types of media you're working with, whether that be sound, pictures, movies, and so on and so on. You import the assets into your project, and then you make compositions within your project. We'll go through that in more detail in the next lesson, but it's really important for you to just get your head around the basics of that in the next lesson. I remember when I first started learning, I kind of brushed over all of that and wanted to get into the really exciting stuff, and then I had to essentially go back and relearn it all because I realised it's really vital stuff to just know the basics of. Next one along, we've got layers. Layers in After Effects work in a very similar way to the way they work in Photoshop. So you have different types of media on different layers, and you can apply different effects to those layers. I suppose one of the fundamental differences with After Effects, you've got your timeline, and there's a lot more you can do, as you will find out over this series. Next one along, we've got effects. Lots of different effects, and I suppose the name After Effects, the kind of clues in the title. There's some real power in these, as with regards to what you can do. I mean, I'll show you some examples a bit later in the series, and I'll be teaching you what you can do with these effects, and with some very simple presses, and just applying some very simple effects in some quite clever ways, you can create some very professional looking animations or transitions or movie effects with pretty minimal work, to be honest. Next one along, we've got animation menu. Won't really go too much into that right now. Um, when you are animating, this is where you come for some of your basic options like keyframe assistant and so on. The view menu, you can enable grids and rulers for the main window here. This is where the action happens, is right in the middle of the screen. And the view menu up here is where you can change some of the options for your view. The next one along is window. Now, if you look down this list, you've got ticks next to some of these. Some of them aren't ticked. Now, the boxes that are ticked are the windows I have open. So you've got brushes, characters, effects, and presets. If you look over on the right of the screen, at the moment, this is where I've got them placed. So I've got characters there. I've got paint just above that, brushes, ease and whiz, which is actually a keyframe assistant piece of software that I've imported, which I will be showing you how to do that. I actually used it for my title to get that nice transitions with my text flying around. It's free. You can donate to them. I'll be showing you that in a later tutorial, how to import that and use it. It's honestly, that's gold dust, that little application. I love it. Effects and presets. So this window menu over here relates to the windows you have open in your overall composition or your overall project. So you can disable and enable them there. And then of course the last one along, you've got help. You can go to the Adobe web page and so on and so on, or open a PDF which has got lots of useful information there for you. Hopefully I'll be saving you having to use that too much, although there is some useful reference stuff to be found in there. So below that we've got the toolbar. Now the toolbar, it's all greyed out at the moment because we haven't actually got any media open. I'm actually going to wait till the next tutorial or two to start taking you through that. But that's where you choose your magnifying glass, your hand, your arrow for picking things up, moving them around, your pen tool, and so on and so on. Now just here on the left is the project window. When you import your media, this is the dropping off point for that media. Anything, background images, movies, sound files for your project, this is where they'll come. They'll go into here and you can take them from here and place them into a composition. I'll go through that in more depth in the next tutorial. As I've said, the middle window, this is your main, this is where all the action happens. Over on the right, for me at the moment, I've got all my windows open now. I've got brushes, as I said, paint options, characters, and down at the bottom, and this definitely last but not least, this is the timeline. Now on the left is where the layers will appear once we do have some media, and on the right is the actual timeline where we'll be able to scrub through time and apply effects to the media. Again, it's blank because we don't have anything open. Now that pretty much wraps it up. One thing it is worth knowing is you can, as well as customizing what windows we have open and closed and your workspace in general, you have different workspace options here. So if you're working on text, for example, you can open a text workspace. If you're working on animation, and you click animation, it will give you an animation workspace. Now you can customize this till the cows come home. I pretty much actually work mostly with the default layout. Occasionally I move the odd window around to here and there. If you want to move a specific panel, let me grab one for you and show you what you can do. So we've got the wiggler down here, very useful tool, but I won't bother explaining what it is now. You can actually grab it on the left corner, the top left corner of the panel, and move it to wherever you like. So I'm holding down the button. If I pull it, still holding down the button, I can actually drop it to wherever these blue highlighted areas are. So if I want it just down there at the bottom of the project, let go, and there you go. So you've got project up above, and you've got the wiggler just down below it. I can pick it up again, and if I wanted to, I could drop it just next to the timeline, and there you go. It's taken up the whole bottom of the screen. I'll put it back, so I'll grab it again, top left corner, move it right over, and I can place it, let's just place it at the bottom of the smoother, and there you go, it's back over there. Now I think that covers the basics. Like I say, there's lots more that we'll be going through, but for now that is it really. That's all you need to know about the basics of the Workspace. Hopefully it's not quite as intimidating to look at now that you've had a quick run through. In the second tutorial we're going to be taking a look at importing media into your project, opening compositions and customizing them, and working with layers.